Hey there, I'm Lainey Lipsky, parenting coach and master teacher. Parenting is hard. I totally get it, and I'm here to make it easier for you. Especially if you had a tough childhood or you've got a tough child now, I've got your back. So take a deep breath, relax, and check out this clip from my coaching group this week. And remember to hit like and subscribe if you like my vibe. Let's get started. So here is the question. It is really hard for one of my kids to take self-responsibility when he finds himself in difficult situations that he brings on himself. Okay, for example, issues with teachers, friends, siblings, etc. Sometimes he gets there on his own, but other times it is a fight and he gets really defensive no matter how wrong he might be. Does that make sense? Yeah, yeah, it does make sense. So I will say that it takes a long time. Like, that's totally normal, first of all, right off the bat. That's totally normal for kids to not be able to self-reflect and to see what part they may have played in a situation that has not gone to their liking. Totally normal. So, what we're doing with them until they are able to see and open up a little bit more and see what role they might be playing in it, we're just planting seeds. We're just planting seeds. We cannot force our kids to take responsibility or to accept responsibility. And I don't mean punish them for their participation in something. I mean for them to actually see their role in something. Very, very hard to do. And it's developmental, but it's also practice. So the more you ask, again, in a non-judgmental tone, well, you've told me, about this difficult situation. You've told me everything that your teacher did wrong or your friend did wrong or your sibling did wrong. I got it. I hear it and reflect back to them what they did wrong. So did I get it right? Is a great question to ask your child when they are telling you the story of something that happened. Did I get it right? Did I miss anything? I want to make sure I really heard you. It's such a good like conversation deepener and to make sure your child feels fully heard and felt and known by you. Once you get that, then you gently can ask, well, can I ask you a question? If there's openness and your child has already shared all of this, likely 99% of the time they will say, yes, can I ask you a question? Sure. Well, is there anything that you can think of that you might have done or said to be part of this? Just even a part of it. So when your teacher said this to you, what were you doing before? How did you respond to her? Whatever, and just remain gently curious. Curiosity is this is like main parenting mantra for me. Stay curious so you don't get furious, okay? So furious with them, furious with the teacher who don't know what's going on, furious with yourself for overreacting. Just stay curious without feeling like you're being a prosecutor, right? You're not there to interrogate them. You're there to be like, huh, okay, so that happened and then that happened. And what did you do then? Right? So, or there's a little hole there, like this, I'm just trying to get the story straight. I'm just trying to understand what's going on. And if your child is not able to even come up with any of that, you can let it go. Because the fact that you will, as a practice, habitually ask these questions is going to plant the seed of them thinking, well, what did I do? What was my part in this? Without you having to say, well, you must have played a part in this. They're getting the message. They're getting that message from you that these are all two-way streets. There's no totally, rarely, sometimes, but rarely a totally innocent victim here, even though they feel like an innocent victim. Part of it can also be, and I've seen this with lots of kids, that they're really not aware of something that they've done to bring on a reaction from somebody else. So in their mind and in their experience, that person was rude to me out of nowhere. And you're like, wait, really? Like they just came up and said that thing to you? Well, yeah, they just said, you're a loser, like out of nowhere, right? I'm just giving an example. And you're like, well, that's odd. Like people don't usually do that, but your child may not be aware. They may not be omitting it on purpose. They probably aren't, but they may not be aware that actually 2 minutes before the kid called him a loser or her a loser, your child did something that they're not aware of to provoke that. That's possible. I just want to be open to possibility here, but they might not remember it. So again, staying curious, staying in the mindset that you are still planting seeds. And, as I really like to hold on to for myself, and when I talk to you guys, is that, when you plant seeds one day, you don't get to eat the fruit the next day. Planting seeds means there's a process of growth, and eventually we get to eat the fruit. So you are planting seeds for your child today to be somebody who is likely, very likely, to be self-reflective. Just because your child isn't doing that today doesn't mean he won't do it. And here's the danger: a lot of parents, because they don't see the results right away, they give up on these practices that do take time to take root and then to sprout. So keep doing it. Just keep asking. Just keep asking. And I'm sure that he gets defensive. Defensive is a sign of, like, I'm too hurt. There's too much hurt here and I can't do it. So he might not be able to do it in the moment, right? And if he can't have that, like if you say to him, just rewinding a little bit, and you say to him, "Can I ask you a question?" And he says no, don't ask the question. Just let it go. Just let it go. Another thing that I like to share, that I share with parents and that I do with my own kids, is I really work hard with a lot of intention and a lot of self-control, self-regulation, to be a place where my kids will tell me everything. So that means I have to keep my face neutral. I've got to keep my breathing regulated. I've got to keep my self-talk, really neutral. Like, this is not a dangerous situation. This is not about you, Lainey. You're just listening. Just notice, be curious. Like, a lot of self-coaching going on when my kids are talking to me, because I want them to open up to me. And one of the ways that I cultivate that with my own kids is to say, um, when they're talking and they take a break or they're finished telling me a story, I will say, "Do you want feedback or do you just want me to listen?" And again, my kids are teens now. This is something I started when they were probably tweens. So if you have younger kids, this isn't appropriate. But I would say, like, depending on the maturity of your kid, maybe 8 and up, 9 and up, depends. But you could always try it and see if it works. And if they're like, "Feedback, what are you talking about?" But when we jump in too quickly to just give them feedback in our opinion, more and more as they get older, they're going to just tune us out, tune us out, tune us out. We don't want that. So again, I'm sharing one of my favorite go-to practices with my kids, and like, they're funny and they're honest. And sometimes the answer will be, "No, I just want to talk. I just wanted you to listen." Like, okay. Once I took a hike with one of my kids who was talking the entire time. And at one point, it was like a 3 hour hike. At one point, I said, "Do you want me to chime in at all, or do you just want to talk?" And the answer was, "Oh, I just want to talk." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I was, sort of dipping in and out of paying attention. I was looking at other things around. But when my kids are telling me stuff about things that they're bothered by at school or things that were painful, I will find a natural pause, usually at the end of their first kind of venting, and I'll say, "Do you want me to chime in? Or do you want feedback? Or would you like for me to just listen?" And it is a genuine, curious question, because I can't have my hopes pinned on either of those answers. If they say, "I just want you to listen," and I'm like, "Oh," because I really wanted to give you my feedback and my opinion, they're going to pick up on that and they feel the judgment. So when I ask, "Do you want feedback or do you want me to just listen?" I have to be okay with either response that they give me. That is, like, the essential tool for having open communication, really, with anybody. But of course, in this case, we're talking about parenting, as always, with me. I really hope this video was helpful to you. Feel free to share it and use the comments to ask a question or to request a topic for the future. We've got links below for free support with things like discipline, teaching your kids how to be more gritty, and how to be more patient with your kids, plus access to my free coaching group. So be sure to check those links out. And remember, we get one shot at parenthood. Our kids only get one shot at their childhood. So let's make it count. Click like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.